Hey guys, this month I wanted to show off me editing my Seeing Demons webcomic pages into the Webtoon format. Because when I make my pages, I make them in the more traditional comic page format, but over time I just learned that it's best to just adapt the panels and the pages for Webtoons. It's just something I've learned and I feel like it's more effective. I think it's easier on the readers. I have found that it's gotten me more views by doing so. It may be not what something everyone needs to do, but it's just something I found that works for me. And it's really, you're going to see, I've narrowed down the process to be very easy for myself because I've gotten into a really good habit of making both formats very editable in the sense of like keeping my panels in folders, my text bubbles are separate, and even making sure I draw through the entire panel and not just like leave a blank spot because I think the word bubble's going to cover it. But yeah, I want to do this. I was going to yap for a bit about where I'm at right now because I told myself I'm going to try to get better at least posting a video a month about just how things are going, how the progress is going with Seeing Demons. And yeah. So one big thing is I finally bit the bullet and I made a website for Seeing Demons. Like off of Webtoons, off of Tapas, not Comic Fury, nothing. I went to Squarespace. I bought a domain, and yeah, it's a thing that exists now. You can go check it out. It's called seeingdemons.com. Really simple, really easy, right? And I primarily did this reason because I've always wanted to own my own webcomic website. I had like work websites and art websites, like portfolio sites and stuff like that in the past because it was something we were encouraged to do when I was in college, but I never made one for the webcomic because I've always been really intimidated is the word I want to use for making them. There's a lot of pros to it though. I've always seen people really encourage it. There's a lot of comic artists I follow who very much push that you should have a webcomic page that isn't supported by various things because if you've been around long enough, you know for a fact that certain webcomic sharing pages don't exist anymore and people lost their entire catalog of things because they were supported on a website that was owned by somebody else and eventually got shut down for various reasons, right? It happens. So that's kind of why a lot of artists tend to push other artists to want to make their own site, which I agree with. Because there's a lot of pros to it. You can do whatever you want with it. You can update it and format it and have pages of what you want. Like one of the main things I wanted was an archive page, but also a character page. That's something you can do on Tapas or Webtoons, and it's not really conducive to the way things are set up on those websites. And I know Column Theory, I think you can do it. I was dabbling with it for a second and I kind of was like, you know what? I'm just going to bite and just try to make a webcomic page. Please be nice when you look at it. It's not that good. I'll be real with you. I'm doing a lot of finessing and working on it and polishing it. It's a work in progress. Like I'm learning. I'm super down for people who want to share their experiences or have knowledge that I don't. I'm very new to this and I've been trying forever to find out exactly how people are formatting and what sites they're using to put up their webcomics. And a lot of times I've noticed it's either through communities. I would say like Hiveworks, and there's another one that I know of. It's like Spider Forest, I think. Something like there's another group of people who've made their own and they all like use the same format. It's amongst themselves. And I think it's amazing. And I love that creators are helping creators step away from bigger companies to do their own thing. And I love that. But I'm just me. So let me figure this out step by step. And don't judge me too much for it, okay? I will say in this video, I am going to kind of talk about the pros and cons of what I've worked through so far. Because like I said, this is not advertised or whatever endorsed by Squarespace, so I can kind of say the things I like and I don't like about it without worrying about someone like getting mad at me for it, because it's just my opinion and I'm allowed to have that just like anyone else's. So there's a lot of pros to it. I think I've used Squarespace in the past. I used it when I was in college. That was the one we were pushed to use. It's very easy to add things and do things of it. I love that it has this little like unlimited storage space where I can put all the pages on the back end, which is super nice. I will say spending the money does feel rough. Like if you don't know, when you have your website, you have to buy the domain. So like seeingdemons.com is my domain. I own that right now. And then you also have to pay whatever site you're going to host that website. So like It could be WordPress. It could be Squarespace. It could be Wix. Any of them. Because normally, if you notice, you'll see the URL is either custom or it is unique to that person. And if it's unique, that means they're probably paying whatever hosting site money instead of just getting the free version of it, right? Which allows them a lot of perks to it, right? But it does feel kind of rough because the cons I'm currently running into that I feel very limited by with Squarespace. Because remember, they're not like they market towards webcomic pages. And I will say, hosting a webcomic on any website is probably a little bit of a like head turner a bit because it's not normal. It's not a portfolio. It's not a store website. So like one of the things it feels like it's trying to push to me is like the blog aspect of Squarespace, but I don't like the way it looks, and I could never get it formatted in a way that I was like, ooh, this is like chef's kiss. This is how I want it to be. This is how I envisioned it to be. So I went with pages instead for each of the webcomic pages, which this is where I'm like gonna ask people if they have any ideas on how to do this, because updating and like editing the pages is actually kind of tedious because I have to go back to previous pages and edit them and go forward and this and that and back and forth and back and forth. And it's just kind of like, it doesn't take me that long at this point because I've done it a couple times already because I've been updating it on Fridays. Just like I update the other webcomics. But like with Webtoons and Tapas, I can schedule those ahead of time. Like I'm a month ahead on those sites. They're just pre-scheduled for me, so I don't have to worry about updating them Friday mornings before I go to work or after I go to work. It's already done for me. But with this new website on Squarespace, I have to do that manually, and I'm kind of like, there has to be a smarter way to do this, right? Like, am I just crazy? And like I said, it's a lot of me Googling and researching, and I'm not perfect. I'm not the expert, but I'm learning, right? Like, it's a learning experience. Like, I'm doing my best to try to take this like one day at a time kind of thing. So like I said, I went in and I updated the entire first chapter onto the website and then kind of fiddled around with that, see what I liked about it. And then essentially what you do on it right now for what my knowledge is allowing me to do is I essentially copy and duplicate the webcomic page to another one, and then I go in and edit it and change it to the new page, and I just keep doing that and continuing on from there. And what I've been doing is just like on Webtoons and Tapas, I am updating it on Fridays. So like I said, I have to do it manually. So I go in and I've been updating two pages instead of just the one page that Webtoons and Tapas get because I'm currently just letting the webcomic update naturally every two pages because it's in the middle of chapter two. Versus whereas like we're on chapter three on like my Patreon and Webtoons and Tapas. So it's a little bit behind, but it should catch up after a couple weeks because it's gonna have two instead of one updates, and it should be good and golden. And I'll keep. This is giving me also time, to be fair, to kind of work out the kinks of what I do and don't like about the website. Like I love that I have a cast page now. You guys can now see little tidbits, and I'm gonna keep adding to them as the story progresses because there's some details that haven't been fully explained in the narrative that I want to add to that page so you guys have it as a frame of reference. Like one of the big things is, what is the power system here? Because clearly there's some kind of power system because there's no way that Michael is the only guy who just has this ability. And clearly we've seen Nick in a flashback have some kind of ability as well. So like there's either some technology or some magic involved, and we're going to get into that a little bit deeper in the narrative of chapter 4. So I'm kind of like keeping my information tight because I'm still learning to like give and not give information publicly because I really just want to talk about all the deep lore and secrets I have about the series. But we haven't gotten there yet, so I don't want to just say things. Like there's so much stuff and content I want to make, but you guys haven't gotten that far in the story, and it's really rough for me because I've had the story in my head and slightly on paper in some formats for years, right? Like I've mentioned in the past that I've had it for over a long time. I'm only just now getting to making it because I feel confident in my skills and I'm able to just keep myself at a steady pace of making weekly updates, right? Either way, back to Squarespace and my growing pains, as I'm calling this video, right? So like I said, I'm updating it manually. It is what it is. I'm fine doing that. It's not a big deal. I usually just kind of do it like Thursday nights and have it ready to go for Friday. And we'll see how that goes with work, because I'm back to work right now, so we'll see how it is, because normally I'll be like, oh, well, I'm not doing anything Friday morning, let me just do that, because I wasn't working Friday mornings before, and now I am. So, it is what it is. We'll figure it out. We'll get through it. The other big thing I haven't figured out about Squarespace is the comment system. I really like having a space where people can comment on things. I love reading other webcomics comic sections because it's just fun to read them. I never really interact with my own comments on Webtoons and Tapas, but I do read them, just so people know. Like, I do read them, actually. They're so fun to read sometimes. I tried using Disqus. It's usually the one I see people using on their webcomic pages, and for some reason, I think Squarespace only lets you do that function if it's a blog post. And as I said, I don't like the way the blog posts in Squarespace are set up. I can't figure out how to make them less bloggy and more webcomic-y, if that makes sense. So I just kind of put them to the wayside and am doing pages instead, which sucks because it does look like you can, I think, like draft and I think even time queue when the blogs go out. So it's kind of like that probably is what they're trying to want me to do, but I just can't figure it out. Same in life, and I haven't found a resource online that's going to explain it to me in a way that makes sense. So we'll get to it at some point. So I tried doing a different like widget for Squarespace for comments, and it worked really well for the free 200 views I was allowed. That lasted me like less than 2 weeks before it got expired and said, hey, do you want to shell out another $40 a month so we can let you have this for more than 200 views? And I'll be real, I don't want to shell out more money for that. And it's just frustrating because I say that because I had to upgrade the Squarespace subscription from the basic plan to like a more like upgraded plan just to have widgets that I could customize and code. And I was like, look, I'm cool spending a little bit of money on my webcomic because you can't make money without spending money, right? Not to say that I'm making my webcomic purely because I want to make money off it, because I currently don't make money off of it, so I don't know why I'm acting as if I would. It just feels like I would feel less bad about spending all this money if I had like a Patreon behind it, which I'm currently working on. It is active. I am a couple, I think 2-3 updates ahead. If you would love to go and support me on there to help me fund this like growing child that I'm creating of a website, apparently, who needs to be fed various things to make it functional in the way I want to see it. This is why I probably should just like went out and tried to find someone who was good at like web design who could like help either explain it to me, or I could like pay them to come help me do it. You know what I mean? A little day late, too late, but it's fine. I mean, hey, if there's someone out there who has this experience, I'm not opposed to you reaching out to me and we can talk. But I digress. Either way, like I said, for those who don't know, I actually do have a Patreon. It's primarily just focused on Seeing Demons. I sometimes will post sketches in there, but it's primarily just updating that. It also has, for the higher tiers, discount codes towards my commissions on VGen. Like I said, I am a very multifaceted person, and I like to do various kinds of art, so it includes webcomics and drawings, and also doing commissions, which I love doing. So if you're interested, you should hit me up there. But yeah, and I thought about just primarily just keeping, like, just the Patreon existing along with Webtoons and Tapas. But, like, the itch to make a website just kind of, like, took over one evening, and I did it, and now I had this child, and we have to support it, right? It's growing still. It's learning. But, like I said, so my two big takeaway pains from Squarespace right now is the amount of money they ask of you is a little ridiculous. But, hey, I'm paying it, so let's see how it goes. Make the most of it, right? And the lack of, like, my knowledge on how to get comments on there without having to pay like another arm and a leg. Like, I'll be real, it's like it was like $40 and I'm like, I'm already spending I think like $40-50 on the website itself. I think I spend like it's like 14 or 10 on the domain, and it's like 30-40 for the upgrade version of Squarespace. And I'm like, why can't this just be like, I don't know, it's just me, what do I know? People have to make a living too, I get it. but it is a little egregious that it's another subscription price. It's not like a one-time fee. If it was a one-time fee for $40, I would do that. But it's just another like monthly subscription that wants you to pay for a year, and I'm like, hold on now. Let's just think about this for a second. Okay, we're not like, this isn't making us any money. Let's not go crazy trying to be like the premium product that is gonna cost me like a severe amount of money, right? I don't want to put myself out like that because that would be foolish financially, right? Because it's just me supporting myself, and my lovely pets, right? But yeah, so that's my ramble about that. And not to be so negative about it, there are positives. Like I said, I love having the cast page. I love being able to customize it the way I want. It's really fun that I can use like the cover pages as like backgrounds without them being oversaturated. I love that about it. I love being able to like attune it to my needs. I have plans to make the buttons like their own designs too. Like I have a lot of assets I will need to work on making for the website to like enhance its visual like idea. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Like I said, if you know anything about owning a webcomic website or have any like website tips, or you've used Squarespace in the past and like understand it a little bit more than me, please feel free to comment and let me know your thoughts, because I am super up for suggestions and feedback, because that is just something that's going to help me present a better, more authentic version of the story I'm presenting to provide to people. So, hey, just saying, if you guys know anything, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely weekend and stay safe. Okay, bye!